What is going on, everybody? Fluffy Ninja here, and just kind of have a quick loadout video, I guess. So when I was streaming earlier this morning, the 25th, I had my friend Greg in the stream with me, and of course he hasn't played a lot of Modern Warfare from what I've seen, and he was like, "Oh, hey, what gun should I use?" And I think the first time he played with us, he was trying to use the FAL. FAL isn't a great weapon to start out with, that is for sure. So when we were playing this morning, I was like, just use the M4. As much as I hate going up against M4s, as much as I hate seeing so many people use that gun in particular, it is the best gun in the game, hands down, by a huge margin. The M4 is the most used gun, and it doubles or almost triples the amount of use compared to the second use gun, which is the MP5, and then it kind of dwindles off after that. But so this is just gonna be like my class setup for whatever game modes I'm playing. It'll change depending on the game mode, of course, but for the most part, this is what I stick with. I'll change a few guns around here and there. If I'm having a bad time, for sure, I'm gonna switch it up and use whatever I think is gonna be my best bet to really put the hurt on the people. Now, the other thing too is I mostly play hardcore, so a lot of people that do class setups are doing them for core. So they'll do like extended mags, etc., etc. Like stuff like that. I mostly play hardcore, and that's actually how I got my Damascus camo and stuff like that. So this is just kind of going over what I use when I'm playing hardcore. A lot of my friends that haven't played COD with me before, they jump in, they're like, yeah, hardcore, because this game's core is just ridiculous. I think I made a point about that in the demolition video that I uploaded. But yeah, so these are just my classes. Kill streaks, we're going to go with the marksman kind of setup. That's the thing. A lot of stuff that I use is based on who I'm watching at the time. Marksman has been a huge influence to me. J-God, Drifter, Exclusive Ace, Immortal, Espresso. Pretty much all those people that are really really popular in the Call of Duty space for sure. But for kill streaks, UAV, gonna use the Precision Airstrike, and then of course the VTOL Jet, just because that is probably the best way to string your kills along, I think. The problem is I usually get killed one off my VTOL almost every fucking game. I'll have 7 kills, I'll be reloading, and then some asshole comes around the corner and just blows me away, and I'm like, well, that sucked, but whatever. So those are the kill streaks. Field upgrades really does depend on the game mode that I'm playing. If I'm playing Search or anything like that, I'll use Dead Silence for sure, 100%. Munitions box, totally useless in hardcore. Recon drone, very good in hardcore, actually. Stopping power, not great in hardcore. Trophy system, absolutely. The only problem that you'll have with this is that you'll get team kills like crazy, because your teammates will just stand directly fucking on top of it, apparently, and they'll be like, it'll save me, and then it shoots out a blast and kills them. They're like, what the fuck, bro? I've had that I don't know how many times, but for modes like Domination, probably the biggest reference that I can give you is playing on Shoot House, and if you get the B flag in Domination, put down a trophy system if you're taking it, or if you're, whatever, if you're trying to defend it, put down a trophy system, because that's going to block smoke grenades that are trying to get you off the point, rockets, for all intents and purposes, that people are being assholes. Deployable cover is okay. I was using it for sure when I was going through a challenge thing. It's okay. Tac insertion, not really needed. The MP drone was actually pretty fun to use, so I might actually use that a little bit more. It was actually pretty cool to use that. One thing that I thought was fucking amazing is that the enemy team called in a Wilson, called in my EMP drone in the area that I thought it was, or where it popped up on the map, and I was like, boop, and it killed it in one shot. Nobody had to waste rockets, anything like that. or, you know, switch to a class with rockets. It was totally great. Weapon drop, completely fucking useless. They need to take this out of the game unless it's going to give me a fucking Mark 6 grenade launcher. I don't fucking want this thing. But yeah. So, loadouts, for sure. You can see my loadout names. Obsidian is definitely not worth it, and it's going to suck. And then no friends at the bottom. We'll get to that in a minute. My first class always is going to be the Riot Shield, just because I am so close to getting an Obsidian. I've been kind of slacking on it the last couple days. But Riot Shield for sure, especially if I'm feeling, you know, like a little cheeky, I guess. And if we're playing Search, I had a game where I had actually just stopped streaming and recording, and I really wish I hadn't, because it's gonna sound like total bullshit. Where it was, I had the Riot Shield and the Renettis, and I think I won a 4-on-1. It might have been a 3-on-1, but I won a 3 or a 4-on-1 with a Riot Shield and Renettis. My Renetti class, even though they absolutely nerf this into the fucking ground, Desperado Compensator, Mark III Burst Mod, the 5mm laser, I don't really care about my lasers being seen, especially because they'll help with that sprint to fire speed. So if you're running at somebody and you need to pull up real quick and, you know, burst them down, I prefer the 5mm, especially because with this class, I'm mostly having my Riot Shield out at all times. So 27 round mags, and then akimbo, of course. And then, of course, it's named RAF 3 because they are the Raficas from, you know, the old games. And then I've got the flaming throwing knife, and then a smoke grenade, or I'll run a stun. It really depends. Second class is the MP5 class. I actually changed these around so it would flow a little bit better in the video. Monolithic Integral. There's some debate on whether this is better than the regular monolithic suppressor. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I feel like it makes my gun shorter, which means I'm not poking out around corners or poking through a doorway or a window or anything like that. So that's why I think it's a little bit better. Merc foregrip to help with the recoil control and the hipfire, actually. That really does help when you're not really paying attention and somebody, you know, just kind of passes you on screen and you're able to hipfire them. 10mm rounds, just because they are the better ammo. Yes, it slows down your fire rate. And it, you know, it gives you a little bit more recoil, but it's a 2-shot, so you can't really wrong that. Or maybe it's a 1-shot. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's just a 2-shot in hardcore. Stipple grip tape to ADS faster, and then sleight of hand to reload faster, just because it does have like the slowest reload time. I want to say that the blueprint I'm using is the flood blueprint, and that's how I get that red strap. I think it looks really cool. And then combat knife is secondary. And then I'll run a Simtex or mostly a frag grenade, just so I can get it to bounce off walls or whatever. But depending on the game mode, the map, you know, Simtex or frag, stun or, you know, smoke. Perks are pretty much going to stay the same. EOD, restock, amped, just so I can switch back and forth between the Riot Shield and so I can get the throwing knife off faster. Shrapnel, that way I get a second sticky. So then the shotgun class, everybody's worst enemy, the 725. I only pull this out when it is being used against me. I am never like the primary person to pull this out. The first time that I die from a 725, though, I make them regret ever making that class. So I have the small 725 possible, sawed-off barrel, 1 milliwatt, just because I don't want that laser showing up while I'm running around with this. The sprint to fire speed is insane with this already, so you don't really need that increase. The Tempest Slim Grip to help with the ADS speed and the sprint to fire speed. Sleight of hand, of course, because you only got 2 shots, and then the sawed-off stock. And I really like the CQ Boom one, because the regular one just looks like garbage. It's probably not going to show. Oh, yeah. I mean, that is it. It just looks like garbage. That just looks way better, in my opinion. And then combat knife. C4, just because that is the clan that we're in, is the IC4 clan. stun grenade, shrapnel. Um, and then a gun that I've really fallen in love with is the AK-47 in this game. This is kind of going over all of my classes, not just the best classes to use. Marksman has made a video on that. If you're a little bit newer player, I would definitely check that out. Um, but the blueprint that I'm using is the Warsaw. I am so happy that this blueprint came into the game just because it makes the AK-47 look 1,000 times better than what it did. So on mine, I'm going to run the Compensator to help with recoil, Merc to help with recoil, Rubberize to help with recoil, Tac Laser to help with ADS speed and aiming stability, and then the no stock, just so I've got a little bit faster movement speed and a little bit faster ADS speed. It depends really. Sometimes I'll run like the close quarter stock or anything like that. I just think it looks cool with the close quarter stock, but it's not super necessary. If the skeleton stock didn't look like a dirty piece of shit, I would definitely run that. RPG, just because I am going for the RPG in Obsidian, just because I want to be an asshole. But yeah, that's really the only reason why I'll use amped and a rocket launcher is if the enemy team somehow gets a VTOL, it's super easy to take down. Restock EOD, frag grenade, and then stun. The frag grenades are really good for Tom nadies, just over buildings, cross maps. Like, it's insane how many times you'll hear me say on stream Tom nady and then 3 or 2 people die. Like, it's actually nuts. One gun that I'm really having a lot of fun with too is the Odin. This is kind of like my quick scoping Odin. I did say that once, like during like a play session, and one of the other guys that we were with was like, "How are you gonna quick scope with an Odin?" And then he spectated me. I want to say it was Search, and he was spectating me afterwards. I think I was using actually just the regular sniper scope, but I am working on like unlocking the reticles and stuff for thermal. And he watched me just absolutely destroy people with this, and he was like, "All right, never mind. If you want something that's a little bit more run and gun, I wouldn't recommend it with Nodin. Either switch to the mono suppressor, or just take the suppressor off completely and then go with the shorter barrel. In hardcore, it is a one shot. Take off your stock, or not your stock. Take off your optic too. I want to say the variant that I'm using is the ASP. Yeah, I think it's the ASP. I think I just unlocked this one actually. But the ASP, it's got a better iron sight. So if you can go for the challenges for the different variants, it's not a huge difference, but the difference in iron sights really does help with a lot of the guns on here. As a secondary, I'll run the Renetti, of course, the Guard 1 variant. I don't think I actually changed anything from it, from what I remember. And then Cold-Blooded, I think it was because I was getting in like a sniper match with somebody that was using a thermal scope in Cold-Blooded, and they could see me every time I popped up on a wall. So I was like, alright, so I switched to Cold-Blooded. But usually I'll run EOD, just because I don't like to sit back and pick people off with the Odin, even though that is kind of what it is for with this class setup. But I prefer rushing and being on the point and being on the objectives. So that usually means that I'll need some protection from grenades usually. My favorite gun, hands down, in Call of Duty is the MP7. It is well, actually, it was the second gun that I ever got Obsidian, but it is absolutely phenomenal. You can't even really see it on the black screen, but I absolutely love this gun. The Obsidian looks okay on it. It's not great. And then probably my favorite way to run the MP7 is like this. This is Marksman's Hipfire class. Hipfire on PC is a little bit better than it is on console, but I've had absolutely no problems, like just absolutely destroying people with this. It's been great. So the Monolithic Suppressor, 5mm laser, just because it gives you better hipfire accuracy. Merc foregrip for hipfire accuracy, 60-round mag, and then the no stock. Like, it is probably one of my favorite ways to run the MP7. I'll run it normally, like without the extended mag. I'll put a sight on it and pick people off usually, but that is the way that I prefer to run the MP7. Knife, just so I can move faster if we're like playing search or anything like that. EOD, restock shrapnel, Simtex and Stun Grenade. Again, usually I'll run a frag or a Simtex. Really depends. Then the M4 class. This is kind of everybody's M4 class for the most part. They'll either swap out the Corvus for the stock, or it's really up to you. I prefer the Corvus just because I think it's a cleaner look, and I prefer my weapons that look cleaner like that. I mean, granted, there's a bunch of shit on the side because this is the pink variant, or I don't remember what the variant is called. I want to say it's the breakup. Yeah, it's the breakup variant. But so I like to shoot pink bullets. So Corvus Custom, Merc foregrip just for recoil control, and the hipfire spray. Again, in hardcore, you can get away with kind of like and hip firing at somebody, and usually they'll go down pretty easily. Stipple grip tape to help with the ADS speed, no stock to help with the ADS speed, and then I need a GI Mini Reflex. Like, I need a sight on this gun, and I prefer the GI Mini Reflex. It takes up the least amount of space on your screen, from my experience, and I need a sight on an M4. I cannot use the iron sights until they come out with some iron sights that look kind of like the Grouse. I'm gonna be stuck using the sight on this. If anything, I'll take off the stock and then throw on the monolithic suppressor, and that's pretty much the only difference that I'll change on this. RPG, of course, just in case there's any kill streaks. Like, personal UAVs are probably my favorite thing to shoot down. EOD, restock, amped, frag, and stun. And then just kind of my my fuck around class is the crossbow. So the 28 strand cables, the 200-pound arms, tack laser. These help with the bolt velocity, so that way, like, your bolt gets there when you shoot. Like, there's a little bit of travel time, but on most 6v6 maps, you're not even going to notice it. Tack laser for ADS speed. I like running the explosive bolts just because I'm an asshole. And then sleight of hand, because the reload on this is ridiculously slow. Like, it's painfully slow. And then I'll run, just a Renetti, or like any kind of pistol, really. C4, stun grenades. This is also very good at taking out kill streaks. It can one-shot a personal UAV. It can, like, 3 or 4 shot, I want to say, a Wilson. Like, it'll put it down pretty quick. And it's really good for just holding down points, for sure. So it's like, the enemy's taking B or whatever, launch a bolt over there. You might get a hit marker, and usually they'll back off. And then you can kind of move in with your squad and take them out and recapture the point or whatever you need to do. Probably my favorite sniping class. I do like the other sniper rifles, but I'm not a huge fan of all of them. But for hardcore, again, my playstyle is mostly hardcore. That's pretty much the only game mode that I enjoy playing, is the Kar 98, and then pretty much everything for ADS speed, tack laser, sport comb stock, sleight of hand speed, stipple grip tape, and then I'll just run like the regular sniper scope. Or like, again, because I'm going for the thermal sights, I'll run the thermal on that, even though it looks really, really weird. For secondary, I'll run the Red Dwarf pistol, which is the red laser pistol. I want to say it's just it's the M19, just because it has the fastest fire rate, and I want to say it's got like the fastest swap time too. I'm not 100% on that. But I noticed that I can pull this pistol out a hell of a lot faster than a Deagle or a 357. So, the XRK Super 5mm laser, just because, it just looks better. Actually, don't know if I'm using the right one. I am using the right one. Match grade trigger, just because it helps a little bit with that aiming stability. 32 round mags, just because fuck you and everything in your direction. I'm gonna just dump all of it at you. And then stipple grip tape, just so we can ADS a little bit faster. And then EOD, restock, and amped, frag, and stun. And then we come to the no friends class. This is the class if you don't have any friends and you want to just make people completely fucking miserable. We run the M4 exactly like how the M4 loadout is, and then we run the 725 as a secondary, exactly how the 725 is, with EOD, overkill, and amped, just so we can swap back and forth, frag, and a stun grenade. This is if I'm being killed by M4s and 725s, this is my answer to both of those. If I'm being sniped, this is, you know, and I'm just being annoyed, or I'm being, if I'm having a very bad time and I want the other team to have a bad time, this is my answer. So if everyone else is having fun and I'm doing fucking miserable, this is my answer to that. Fuck you, fuck your fun, fuck your face. This is the class that's gonna make you want to not play against me anymore. And it's just really fun just to be that asshole that has this class just kind of tucked away at the bottom of your loadout list. Like, for sure. So yeah, that is all my loadouts. Probably the one that I'm most using is probably the AK-47, honestly. I'm really enjoying using it. I don't know where I'm at on Obsidian, 30 out of 200, so that's actually not too bad. Especially because I've only started, like, really using it recently once this blueprint came out. And I'm really enjoying playing with it. I'm actually not putting a camo on it just because I love the way that it looks just like this. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. And then the Odin is just really fun to just one-shot people with. The MP7, you know, the fun hipfire class to run around and just cause havoc is for sure nice. But yeah, that is my loadouts for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Adam for suggesting this. It's Fala that we played with a little bit earlier on stream. I'll probably upload a video of that sometime soon. But yeah, he was like, hey, you know, I'd really like to see a breakdown of your classes. I think it would be cool if you could do that on stream too, to be like, well, this is why I'm switching to this gun. Honestly, when I'm switching guns, it's because whatever I'm using is not working for me. So if I'm running the MP5 and I'm just getting M4'd constantly, it's like, okay, then I'll switch to the M4. And then if I'm getting sniped, it's like, all right, well, now I have no response. And then I'll switch to a sniper. And then I'll probably get fucking shotgunned after that. And then I'll switch to the fucking 725. The other shotgun that I really like to use besides the 725 is the R90. The 680 with the fire shot is fucking hilarious. But I prefer the R90. And I actually just use... I want to say it's the doubloon loadout, and all I do is I take off the grip. Yeah, I put the choke, the forged tack sentry, 5mm, stipple grip tape, and sleight of hand, and that's just so it's faster ADS and, you know, faster or better at hipfire. That is the only other shotgun that I've really enjoyed using is the R90. It is absolutely a blast to use. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for, you know, suggesting this, Fowler especially. So yeah, thank you guys again, and I will catch you in the next video.